Hey YouTube, it's good to see you again. My name is Andrew. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. I've been promising some more instrument updates, and now it is time for the next one. I've hinted at the appearance of this instrument for a little bit, and you've seen it in a couple of videos already, but I have taken up the trombone again after many years of not playing it. I switched to French horn in high school, and then ended up studying horn at Curtis and got my bachelor degree in horn performance. But now I've redirected my focus to violin and viola, which was my earnest pursuit much earlier in life, and I feel like it's kind of freed up some time, or freed up energy, or I don't know. I don't have any time these days. I'm a double major, but it's given me an allowance to revisit the trombone. I've been itching to get back to the trombone for a long time. Honestly, I don't think there's a day that I haven't missed playing it since I quit playing the low brasses when I was about 14 or so. So it's just really fun, and it's bringing me a lot of joy to reunite with this instrument. I'm here to tell you about this particular trombone, which is new to me. I bought it, it's been 2.5 months now. I got this at the end of August, and it's really cool. And so this is a blessing trombone, and you would be easily forgiven for thinking right off the bat that this must be a blessing B-78, as that is the more popular model of F-attachment trombone from Blessing that you normally see. And I thought it was a B-88 also when I purchased it off of Reverb. And as a matter of fact, it's not a B-88. So I got a little bit bamboozled there, but it's no big deal. This is actually a B-78, and here's the weird thing. So there's a Blessing stamp on the bell, but there's no model stamp that's easy to find anywhere. It took me 2 days to find that it's here on the main bell section brace. In very small lettering, it says B-78. And I couldn't find that for a little bit, and at first the listing said that this was a B-88, and so I had gotten a large shank mouthpiece for this horn. I was just going to start by getting one of these Kelly plastic mouthpieces, because these are very impressively good while being very cheap, and they're safe for someone who has a history of allergy issues like I do, being made entirely of plastic. And so I bought this one. This is a Kelly 5G, the large shank version. And when I pulled this horn out of the case for the first time, I was extremely confused. What is, huh? And then I just so happen to have laying around this Blessing 6.5 AL. There's literally a bajillion of these floating around our repair shop. And I was like, okay, so small shank 6.5 AL. Oh, okay. This is not a large bore trombone. Okay, now I know that. And at first I thought, well, did somebody mix up a slide with the wrong bell section? Is this a B-78 slide with a B-88 bell? Nope. B-78 stamped on the bell brace, so this is a B-78. There you go. It's a medium bore tenor trombone with an F attachment. It's 525, and but I measured the valve tubing. The valve tubing is 562, so it's still, a big, large tenor kind of size for the valve tubing, and the bell flare is 8.5 inches. I measured it. I would think that a medium bore horn would have an 8-inch bell, but this one is 8.5. I measured it. I can confirm that. And other than that, it's a pretty normal looking, old style closed wrap F attachment tenor trombone. It looks a lot like a con, and I believe these blessings are modeled after con trombones. The B-78 is really a con 88H copy, and the 78 is, I think, supposed to be a copy of a con 79H. Well, there's a bug in here. It's November. I thought those were gone already. Anyway, getting distracted. I think the 79H, the con 79H, is a medium bore F attachment trombone. It looks a lot like this. It's a 522 bore, which that's a con thing. They had several trombones with that 522 bore size. You don't see really anybody else using that specific size. Most medium bore horns are 525, which is what this is. This is 525 through the hand slide. A few other cool features to nerd out about, because I am a nerd and I love to nerd out, is we have a slide that looks a lot like a con style slide. It's a pretty narrow slide, which is very nice. I have small hands. It's very nice to have a narrower slide. We have equal length nickel oversleeves. We have gold brass tubes and a yellow crook. That's interesting. That's something you don't see on con trombones. Normally you see red brass tubes and a nickel crook, at least on the 88H, that is. I'm a little shaky on some of the other models. And normally on cons, the standard option is the red brass bell or rose brass. Is there really a definitive difference between red brass and rose brass? I feel like everybody kind of defines that differently. I'm not really sure. And most blessing trombones also come with a red bell or rose, although those blessings, it's really red. It looks very red in appearance. There's actually a video that I made more than a year ago. It was last summer. I was recording the low brass for the end of Bruckner 5 on my channel, and I was playing on instruments that we happened to have lying around our shop at the time. And on the second trombone, I'm playing a B-88 with a red bell. And you can see it in that video if you go and watch it. It's really red. This, on the other hand, is not. This is a yellow brass bell. And I feel like you don't see as many yellow bell blessing trombones, so that's cool. Got a yellow bell version. The rest of the horn is all yellow brass tubing, and then of course nickel silver parts for wherever there's doubled over tubing, where you've got a tuning slide outer tube where you've got metal on metal contact. They went for nickel silver there, which is very reasonable. Now, you might also notice that I have a counterweight on here. This did not come with the horn. Unfortunately, this trombone is very, very slide heavy, which makes it impossible to play for any length of time. And so I just so happen to have a beat up King 606 that I literally dug out of our boneyard. It was scrap parts that I kind of kludged together, King 606, and I pulled the counterweight off of it and put it on here, and it makes it much more comfortable to hold now. Now, the funky thing, even with a trombone with as good of ergonomics as this one has, with a nice narrow slide and the trigger is in a pretty good location, it's still, with a modern design where the trigger is in front of the bell brace, you have nothing to hold the weight of the horn up except for pinning it with these weak fingers and your palm, and you're just kind of like grabbing the horn, and it puts so much tension on these sort of tendons that go through this side of your forearm. It's very uncomfortable, and I found that on any trombone with a modern trigger design like this, I have to use a strap. There's no way that I can play it without. So, and I've experimented with a few different ways to put the strap on the horn. My favorite, as of recently, is to kind of put it through underneath this top slide brace here, and then it kind of wraps around, and then it's heavenly. I suddenly, now all the weight is on the back of my hand, a much stronger support, and the horn is pretty well balanced now with the counterweight, and I can hold this horn and I can play it, and I can feel very comfortable. So that's amazing. Now I forgot to finish the mouthpiece spiel. After discovering that this is a medium bore horn, not large bore, I went ahead and bought the same mouthpiece, the Kelly 5G, in the small shank version, so that now I can play it on this horn. Now, I am soon to enter a mouthpiece search for this instrument because neither of my two mouthpieces that I have, the Blessing 6.5 AL nor the Kelly 5G, are really a great fit for this horn. I find that, well, okay, pause this discussion for a second, and I have to inform you of another addition to my musical adventures. That is that not only have I picked up the tenor trombone, I've also picked up the bass trombone in the last couple of months, and more videos are to come soon on that. You will have seen bass trombone appear in a very recent, I think the most recent video now, where I was doing a brass quintet version of a hymn tune. Very fun. And the story behind that, briefly I'll just mention, is that I got the opportunity to audition on trombone for the IU brass band. For those of you who don't know, I'm a student here at the Jacob School of Music at IU, and I was like, let me just go out on a limb and audition for the IU brass band on trombone, and I got in, auditioned on tenor trombone, but no bass trombonists had auditioned, and so I got assigned the bass trombone chair, and I was like, well, that's awesome. So as far as trombone playing has gone, I'm actually spending much more time on bass than I am on tenor these days, and my face has adapted to the big mouthpiece of the bass trombone. All of that we'll delve into more in a later video coming soon, but because of that, the 6.5 AL is way too small for my face. It feels awful to play on, but the cup and the bore seem to be a closer match for this horn. The blow is a little bit more what I would want it to be, but I'm not getting the sound I want. I'm not feeling comfortable just because this rim is way too small. And so the 5G is closer to the size that I want, but actually this mouthpiece still feels too small. So I might be in search of like a Bach 4 or something like that, something with a big inside rim diameter, but with a small, a shallower cup and a small bore, so that it will, it'll match with the horn well, it'll make it play the way it wants to play, but I can have a rim that's more comfortable for my face. And my chops can resonate the way that they want to. That's more exploration is needed. I'm kind of hesitant to just go start buying mouthpieces because I want to try some stuff if I can to see if it would actually work, because you read specs on paper and they really don't mean that much in reality. You got to just try stuff and see if it works, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, and another thing that I think causes this mouthpiece not to work its best is just it's plastic, and a trombone mouthpiece generally has quite a bit more mass to it than, say, a French horn mouthpiece, which is so small anyway that you don't notice that much of a difference if you play on a fully plastic mouthpiece. But on trombone, you really notice it, and I have a lot of trouble getting into the core of the sound on this mouthpiece, and I feel like I have to blow pretty hard. I have to kind of muscle it into place, and so that's why in some of the clips in this video you might hear me miss notes here and there, or some notes are not perfectly centered, because I'm struggling. I don't feel entirely comfortable even on this mouthpiece. It's the closest thing that I have to what works. and this is, you know, a good time to mention, I mentioned this in a recent video on French horn mouthpiece updates. I have a history of metal allergies, but as of recently, playing on silver-plated trombone mouthpieces has given me no problems. I can somehow play on them again, and for weeks now, been playing on silver-plated mouthpieces on bass trombone every day, pretty much, and I'm fine. So that's really weird. But the cool thing is that opens up a lot more possibilities of what mouthpieces I can try now without spending a ton of money. So that's good news. Now, this is a very disorganized, rambly video. I guess a couple more things I should mention about this trombone is, well, the trigger. The trigger is pretty janky here, and I won't go into all the nitty-gritty details, but as you might notice, I'll show you kind of up close. You can see there's a little extra screw here, a little grub screw, set screw here. Somebody has drilled a hole into the side of the stop arm and fabricated this screw to go in there. Why do they do that, you might be wondering? Well, the reason is because inexplicably, I don't know how this happens, the stop arm itself is bored out, so it doesn't have any shape to it. You know, it's supposed to be like a puzzle piece. It has a shape that perfectly fits onto the shape of the rear bearing shaft of the valve itself. This stop arm is just drilled out, so it'll just turn freely around the bearing shaft unless you have this set screw tightened all the way, so it kind of pins it in the proper orientation. It's the weirdest thing, but it works. The trigger is a little clanky, but it works. And when I got this horn, I didn't realize this. I didn't notice in the pictures that this screw, this is a plug screw right here, was just missing entirely. That's supposed to ride on top of the ball joint at the end of this arm here that's on the inside here. The nice thing is that Blessing trombones of this era were made in the same factory as Bach trombones, and they borrow a lot of the same parts. So I could find this part, it was just a Bach part, and it fit perfectly. So that solved that problem, thank the Lord. And so now I'm in business, and the valve itself is actually in really good shape. I took it apart, put it back together, cleaned it out a little bit, and it's great. The valve is excellent, so I'm really happy about that. And despite being an old, fairly small standard rotor, it's not that stuffy considering. So I'm really happy about that as well. So anyway, new addition to the family, a Blessing B-78 medium bore tenor trombone, which is just really fun to have around, fun to practice on here in the apartment sometimes and just kind of get the sound moving, and it's a cool horn. So bass trombone updates to come soon as well. There's a lot to unpack, which will be in multiple videos. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!